And we're live. Hey everyone, McCall Dempsey here. I am really excited to be going live today, so we're just gonna wait for, hi Lisa, some peeps to pop on and see when David is going to join us for a really fun live. For those of you that don't know, he is an amazing Brawny model with the Bridge Agency, and he's been a model for 3 years, and he's actually in London. So I think it's 8 p.m. his time. So we're really excited to talk to him. We're just waiting on David to join us, and there he is. So if you can just request to join, David, and then I will add you in, and we can get chatting. I am so excited. Let's see. Let me see if I can add him. Can you request to join, David? Let's see. There he is. Okay. Now it's waiting for him. I think it's working.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So you're in London, right?
I am, and actually right now we're clapping for the NHS. So yeah, because 8 p.m. here, so every 8 p.m. on Thursdays we clap for the NHS. So I just finished clapping, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. And how are you guys hanging in this wild time?
Well, I'm doing okay. We're doing, like, it's a really, really difficult time right now. As you can tell, but we're doing okay. I feel like we're as a community, we're slowly pulling together. And yeah, so yeah, I'm doing okay. Well, how about yourself? How are you doing?
You know, so I'm in Florida. I'm on the East Coast, and we're surviving. I have 2 little ones that all of a sudden now I'm homeschooling them while also working. So
Yeah.
I miss my traveling and doing events and like seeing people, but this virtual thing has kind of worked out. And it's been really fun because now I've gotten to meet some amazing folks like you, and kind of connect. And so tell me, how did you get into modeling and into the Bridge Agency?
So for me, it was literally just, so like 3 years ago now, I was just sort of posting on social media, like I usually would. And then I think I saw somebody, it was Scotty Bayliss, and he was like the first plus model that I ever saw, and it was on ASOS. And so I was like, I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know plus size people could be, I just didn't know this was a thing. So I literally just decided to message him like, thank you so much for like representing, like we need more of you in our community essentially. So I sent him a message, and I kept posting, and then somebody commented on my pictures, oh my gosh, you should try plus size modeling. And I was like, but how does like one go? Because it's this niche concept to me. I didn't see it as something that could be more than just one thing.
Right.
And so I was just like, wow, this is absolutely great. So I just sent out a couple random applications to different agencies. But because it's something that I've always wanted to do, I sort of just left it. And then I had somebody messaging me, check your emails, try to check your emails, because I'm absolutely terrible with my emails. Check your emails, check your emails, check your emails. And so I did that, checked my emails, and it was Bridge. Somebody got in contact with me from Bridge, and they were like, we want to have you like straight away. You don't even need to like come in or anything like that. Just send over pictures, and yeah, they ready to have you straight away. And it was absolutely like really, really quick. And 3 years later, I'm here. So it's been a really, really good time.
That's amazing. I mean, you were clearly just born to do this. And I was reading a blog that you wrote, and I just love, how you mentioned that, masculinity, like we often want to put our boys in a box and say, okay, especially if they're, big and tall, well, you have to play football, you have to do this. And clearly that's what it looks like, and I think that I'm thankful for folks like you that are really kind of breaking through that stereotype. I think we still have a lot of work to do. So what would be, like, how do you define masculinity? I have an 8-year-old son. Like, how should I define that I think he's going to define it for himself, but like, how do you define masculinity?
Do you know what? Masculinity is something that there isn't one description that points out that this is masculinity. Masculinity is to each and every individual. It varies from different people to different races, different experiences, cultures, different ages. something that it's really, really broad. So as a society, I feel like we need to work at stop trying to limit it and
Yeah.
dictate to people this is what masculinity is, this is what it's about. I feel like we need to focus on making sure we understand that it has so many different variations and
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. I mean, that's what I want to see from my son. You know, he's not like all his buddies that are like, you know, all into the football and all into this. Like he's just very like sciency and building and you know, I think for me as a mom, I grew up with all girls, so he's a first for me. You know, I just want to raise him to be sensitive and caring and kind and really just embracing who he is. So what would you
yeah.
say to all those boys out there that don't fit into that kind of toxic masculinity that we are so predominant in our culture? You know, what would be your advice to them, or even to moms like me, of how we can really help promote a healthy, you know, being as our sons? Like you said, masculinity is going to be anything. So what can we do as moms, and what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say that it's so important to learn and understand your family, understand your kids, understand the fact that we live in a society today that there are a lot of social pressures. You know, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of, and everyone, a lot of young people growing up now are trying to find themselves and where they belong. And it's a whole journey and it's a whole process. But I feel like more than anything, to our young guys out there, there needs to be a willingness to speak to and a willingness to understand. I feel like it's a lot more harder for guys to get out a lot of emotions and a lot of things that need talking. But these are things that guys need to speak about. But there's going to be a lot of probing. But I feel like as time goes on, it becomes a natural thing, you know? So
Yeah.
I feel like right now as people, as friends, as family members, as cousins or as mothers, we need to make sure that we are very, very intentional about the mental health, the mental state of our young men around us, essentially.
Yeah. How did your family help you and support you in cultivating, you know, your own sense of worth and self?
Yeah. Okay. So I come from a Christian family, Christian household. A lot of our beliefs and a lot of the things that we sort of practice is very, very in line with self-care and self-love. It's all about making sure that you understand that you are important. You are here for a reason. You've got a reason to, you've got a goal. There's a target. You know, there's so much more than just you're just surviving. You know, you're actually living a life that is thriving, and that's where a lot of my support system and a lot of my focal points come from.
Yeah. And how did you kind of come from a place? Because you know, so you struggled a little bit with just body image and
Hmm.
self-worth.
Yep.
And, you know, what did that journey look like for you? And how did you kind of come into your own?
That journey was a very difficult journey. I think for me, like I've always been really, really creative in the way that I think. I think a lot differently to a lot of guys. I had quite a sheltered upbringing. A lot of my schools. I went to a private school, and so my upbringing was very, very different in what I was around at the time and what I saw in my peers. And I feel like there was a part of me that wanted this acceptance, and I struggled with a lot of like seeking validations in peers. But they were all, I don't know, 12-year-old, 11-year-old boys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot to project onto other people. Um, so I think coming from there, I sort of decided to. It became a thing where I didn't like myself in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just didn't, and it like from my aesthetics, so many different sides, so many different things. And I went on a journey. It's strange because a lot of people say that, okay, so where were your friends and your family at that time? Like they were there, but then it starts with a personal decision. You know, it's always like, yeah, you're my family, so you're supposed to love me. You're my family, so
Yeah.
you're supposed to like affirm me. You're supposed to say validate me. But I sort of sort it out from people that I felt like were my peers or should be my equals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think for me that journey was sort of really, really difficult to sort of go through. But I think I remember a time where I took that conscious decision that, do you know what? Right now, I need to get myself out of this bubble, out of this space.
Yeah.
I'm deserving of so much more in life. I have so much more value that I'm placing on myself, and I need to be the first person to live that out because I can't
Mm-hmm.
expect other people to respect me if I can't respect myself.
Amen. Yeah. I mean, I preach absolutely to all of those things. And I mean, how did you, and how do you now, like you mentioned you're really creative, and I think creativity can be such a, oftentimes people are like, it's music, art, and I'm like, no, it can be so many different things. So
Yeah,
what is
yeah,
your
yeah.
creative outlet?
So a lot of my creativity obviously is like fashion, styling,
Hmm.
modeling, like aesthetic. I just finished my degree in graphic design.
Ah,
So I've got a
congrats.
graphic design degree. So I'm really, really creative in that sense as well. I sing as well. um,
Nice.
so yeah, I do like a lot of like singing and stuff and like backing vocals, and so I think just different outlets. There's so many different ways that I express my creativity. Yeah.
How have you been kind of keeping that going, the creativity and the self-care, and what does that look like right now since all of our lives have shifted? It's got to look a little
Yeah.
different.
It's yeah, definitely. It looks a lot different. um, I've been, I've still been able to sort of create content from home, sort of shoot from home, work with like brands and organizations from home, which has been
Yes.
absolutely great. So I've been able to do all of that from home, and also just go back to natural skills. So stuff like drawing, stuff
Hmm.
like painting, stuff like just finding other ways to express myself, finding other ways to create. I used to love, as a kid, I used to love writing stories. So I just thought, you know what, let me write a whole story. Um, and just maybe add to that story every single week to it becomes this
Oh, I
whole
love that.
elaborate story of how everything sort of comes together, how and potentially have that published later on in life. Just different things of finding ways to sort of allow my creativity to sort of flow and having it as something as actual practical.
Hmm.
That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
What has been your other forms of like self-care, during this time?
Yes. Self care. So, um, I think music. I've been listening to a lot more music and a lot more range of music.
Hmm.
So that I've been doing that, and a lot of skincare, watching a lot of skincare tutorials
Ooh.
and
Hmm.
stuff. A lot of skincare, a lot of hair care. How to sort of get myself where I want to be skin wise. So I've been looking at a lot of that, and just general stuff to do with like grooming. I've been ordering a lot of stuff.
Me too. Me
I've been
too.
ordering so much stuff.
I have so many boxes at my door right now. It's embarrassing.
Literally
Yeah.
every single day. I've been ordering so much stuff. But yeah, all just different things that sort of helped me along the journey to sort of enjoy my time. Because I feel like, what, we are on Earth for a limited amount of time. It's going to, come to an end at some point. And so it's so important to make sure you live every single day intentionally. So if you want to have fun, have fun. If you want to enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. If you feel like you want to treat yourself to different things, do it. Because you never know when, the line's going to be, essentially.
Whew, yes, that is so true. And I think, living with intention, and it can come in such a variety of ways, right? And, I love that our society is really shifting. I mean, I still think there's a ways to go, but that we're seeing a lot of representation from all walks of life in our magazines and our TVs and things. And there's still ways to go. What do you think is really like the best part of being a Brawny model with Bridge? Like, what do you love the most about it?
Do you know what? I think I do enjoy like working with different brands, working with different campaigns, like networking, speaking to so many different people, like creating a community. But I feel like the most rewarding part of it for me is when you hear somebody come back and says that, do you know what, I followed your story and I followed you over time, and your story and what you have to offer and everything you have said has helped my journey. I
Hmm.
think for me that is the most rewarding thing, because things like that you can't buy, you can't quantify. You can do
Right.
a whole bunch of modeling jobs, a whole bunch of influencer jobs, and there's a price for all the different things and all the different brands you work with. But knowing that you've impacted somebody in such an amazing way, in a
Yes.
life-changing way, I think that there's no price on that. And for me, that is the most rewarding part of everything.
I mean, I could not agree more. And I think we do that by living with intention and leading with intention, and taking care of ourselves and respecting ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So what from your lens, being a model, where do you think the industry still has work to do in making sure that all bodies and people and voices are represented?
I think, do you know what? I think stuff like London Fashion Week, let's talk about
Hmm.
it. stuff like the fashion weeks, I feel like we're at such an interesting time because there's so much inclusivity now, and it's something that it's a journey. We're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet, but
Yeah.
it's been a journey, and I feel like we're now open more and more to certain talks and having those talks and speaking to in industry people. I mean, Lizzo was recently on the cover, and yeah, and Seth Holiday on the Cosmopolitan. So we're sort of at a place where we're moving forward. There's been a bit of a shift. I feel like we've got such a long way to go, and I think a lot of that is going to stem from fashion and big fashion brands like stuff, so places like London Fashion Week, and the different fashion weeks. I think, yeah.
Yeah, the fashion week. And I mean, because I think I see a lot of it, you know, on varying campaigns, especially like Target's doing a really good job lately. A lot of those are really representative. The photoshopping has improved, but I think that there's still so much pressure. What would you say to somebody maybe watching this that wants to follow in your footsteps and be a model and might not fit like the status quo?
Yeah. I mean, I would say definitely 100% go for it. You never know what it's going to do. And do you know what? You don't necessarily need an agent or an agency to start. Just 100% own who you are and be willing to share who you are to the world, to everyone, because you are worth sharing. So definitely own who you are, share who you are, and then everything else will follow. All the deals, all the agencies, all the management, everything else will follow.
I love that. Just own who you are. So we at the Alliance this past week just launched a new campaign called Alliance Survivors, and we did this awesome video. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should definitely check it out. And it's just a variety of voices and just saying what makes them a survivor. And so I have to ask you, what do you think makes you a survivor?
I think it's my journey. Understanding, being able to look back on my journey and be able to grow from points, being able to sort of like pick at it and understand things that work, things that didn't work, and why those things are. I think seeing the growth from where I was once before and where I am now, and potentially where I want to get to, and all the potential that I have, I think those things are what I'd say makes me a survivor.
Yeah, I love that. And what, I just have to ask one more question. What, you know, I look at, you know, people like you that have grown into who they are and respecting who they are and loving who they are and have certainly had a rocky path getting there. I can certainly identify with that, and so many of us can. But what would you say to the person that, you know, is trying to conform to societal standards to find that worth, to find that, you know, golden ticket, when we know, you and I have been on our journey, we know that we can only find it within us, but they might still be trying to shrink and conform. Like, what would be your words of wisdom to that person?
I would say do not conform. I'll say 150% be you. I think one thing that was huge for me is finding the body positive community through my modeling and through my agency, through my networking. I found this community of people that are 100% accepting of who I am and what I'm about. And I feel like there is that community, and you will not find that community if you continue to shy away and shrink. You will never feel accomplished. You will never feel satisfied. And you owe it to yourself to feel these things. You owe it to yourself to feel worthy and to feel like somebody of value. So I would 150% do not shy away, do not shrink. Make sure that you are unapologetically yourself.
Yes.
In everything that you do and in everything that you say. Own who you are. And make sure, and everything else will follow it. All these other people, like the whole community will essentially build itself around who you are. And you never know, you might be somebody else's story that I had this one person that I'm able to look up to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. I mean, I think that, you know, I can remember, you know, when I was younger and just feeling like, well, I have to look like this, I have to be like this, I have to wear this type of clothes, I have to, you know, in order to find my worth and to find that value. And then it was like when I found my own recovery and kind of came into my own, I was like, oh, people liked me all along for me. Doesn't really, I don't give a shit anymore about what people say or what they think about what I wear or whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to be me. And that is, I think, the most attractive quality any human being can have. Well, so tell everybody, where can they find you? Obviously on your Instagram. Where else? Do you have a blog? Do you write, or how can we follow you?
I mean, I have been doing a whole bunch of writing of recent. Nothing is out yet, just yet.
Okay, well,
But
let us know.
right now it's literally just social media platforms. So I'm mostly post a lot of my content on Instagram. So
Okay.
definitely get in touch with me over Instagram. Um, and yeah, if you want to book me for anything, speak to my management. That's Bridge Models. Um, so yeah, but mostly through social media, so Instagram and stuff. I'm always willing to sort of speak and talk and like talk for ideas. I have a lot of people that message me during the day. So a lot of guys that I'm sort of speaking to at the moment. So definitely
That's awesome.
feel free to message.
I love that. Any last words of self-care, wisdom, body love?
Yep. Listen, right now is the time to learn to love yourself. Like right now is the biggest opportunity to learn how to look after yourself, to take care of yourself, to do what you want to do, to own who you are, to plan and reflect on the life that you've lived now and the life that you want to live, and make sure that everything you do is steps to who you want to be. Like right now is the best time to do that because a lot of the distractions are taken away. Now is it for you. Now is the time. So go do it.
Go do it. I love that. Thank you so much. I mean, like that was like just the perfect little piece of inspiration for us. So thank you so much for taking the time today. It's so nice to meet you. And definitely stay in touch with us, and we will be following your amazing journey as well.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.